All right. Hello, Facebook family. Tony T here. And coming to you from my Catalyst cabana here on Laguna Beach. As you can see, I've missed my Laguna Beach. I've actually been held up inside from this past weekend. And this past weekend, as you know, I'd posted some video and some pictures of me in LA, speaking at the live event for my friend Katerina Satori. And I'll tell you, it was a phenomenal event. There was a lot of stuff that was shared, a lot of stuff that was connected, a lot of stuff that was created. And one of the things that I know that was spoken about, and I actually did speak to on some level in some of the conversations, was our probably as conscious entrepreneurs, if I could be so bold as to call myself and our group that. We consciously create, we consciously produce. We're very mindful and intentional and deliberate about what we want to create in the world. And I'll tell you, talking over with a friend of mine last night about this idea that I'm about to share with you really came clear to me, and I'm going to give you some context around it. But one of the most unlikely spiritual experiences I have had and continue to have over the last 20 some odd years is sales. Building my own business, especially over the past 10 years, building my own digital online business has been the ultimate spiritual experience. In many ways, more so than just meditation or going to a spiritual event. And hear me out on this, because I know there may be some pushback on it, but I remember my longtime mentor, rest in peace, Rick Munson, passed away several years ago. But I remember I had just gotten into manufactured home sales. I was about 21, just turning 22. I'd gotten off tour from the metal band that I was in. Hello, Camila. How you doing, love? Good to see you. My weekend friend. Good to see you. But I remember, being in sales and meeting Rick, and I was pretty scared. I was this 21-year-old kid. I was completely stepping into this new world. I'd cut off all my hair. I'd had this long hair, and I cut it all off to go into sales. And I remember Rick had given me this book, and the book was called Real Magic by Wayne Dyer. It was my first spiritual book that I'd ever been really, exposed to. And it was ironic because Rick also had an addiction. At that time, and unfortunately it's what actually took him from this world, I feel, way too early, several years ago. But I remember many drug-filled nights, having very in-depth conversations, ironically on drugs, and also talking about Wayne Dyer and talking about spiritual quests and breakthroughs and experiences. And little did I know how much that building my own business and actually just being in sales at that time, little did I know how much that would have on my growth, my introspection, my requiring to look into other people's worlds and see what it was that they were struggling with, that they were looking for relief from. And I didn't even realize it, that I had been on a spiritual quest for 20 some odd years, being in sales, building my own businesses, especially now, being in this digital online world that I live in. Working from home, a lot of people think, oh, you've got it made. And listen, I do. I'm so very, very grateful to work from home like I have, for the past 10 years in doing this business. But I will tell you, and there's a lot of people, from this live event, and speaking to, that there is probably very few experiences that you can deliberately step into. Let me just be very mindful of that you can deliberately step into that will stretch you spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, more than starting and running your own online business, and business in general. Sales in of itself is definitely an unlikely spiritual experience, because it really has you go into yourself. And what I've discovered is that, running our businesses in the way we have, a lot of people get caught up in getting constipated with knowledge, is what I call it. Just acquiring more information and more tools and more things, and getting more certifications. And don't get me wrong, there's not anything really wrong with those. But what I've also discovered is, just like, through spiritual experiences of my own, is it's also a lot about letting go of a lot of shit. It's about letting go of a lot of identity. especially when you're stepping into the role of sales, and the way that I look at it as is really as serving. And that's what I see sales as. It's a form of serving and supporting and providing people relief from what it is that they're going through. And a lot of times that requires myself to let go of a lot of agenda. It requires me to let go of a lot of identity. It requires me to let go of a lot of the dark ego, for me to have the need to feel to be heard, as opposed to actually listening to what it is that my prospect is saying, and is realizing what they said and also knowing what it is that they're saying. So just like, through my own spiritual journey and my own spiritual quests, you might even say, it's really been about letting go of a lot of identity, letting go of a lot of beliefs, letting go of a lot of labels so that I can show up more, congruently, more authentically, just me being myself. Having a conversation with one of my HTB members this morning, we were really talking about what is value, and for me, value really is, providing value to people it's also a lot of providing people relief, and in such a way that I'm just being myself, that I'm being very natural, and I'm doing it in a very natural and congruent way, and so that it feels good for this person to give me money to provide them relief, and it also makes me feel good, or helps me feel good to receive that money as well. It's a fair exchange of value. And I can tell you that that's spiritual in and of itself. For me, I have many over the many years, I've had a hard time receiving love, receiving money, receiving care, receiving affection, in a lot of ways, in healthy ways, we'll say. And so today, I can certainly say there's been one big catalyst in my life. It's been running business and running sales. It's really helped me to really take a look at the things that serve me, support me, and being of greater service in the world. Because listen, there's nothing spiritual about being poor, in my opinion. I get it. We can go through moments where we're broke. But I've always said broke is temporary. Poor is a state of mind. Poor stands for passing over opportunity repeatedly, right? And, that may sound clever, but at first we've got to have clarity. And speaking with clarity, sometimes that means not speaking at all, holding space for our prospects or our clients, holding space for people to allow themselves to express what they're feeling, what they're going through, what their experiences are, what they feel is stopping them, slowing them down, or standing in their way, of living a life that is them, feeling on purpose. So one of the most unlikely spiritual experiences is running your own business, and especially in this online digital world where I have an international business, and I have for a couple of years, where I have clients from all over the world. And with that comes a certain level of necessity to understand, to be clear, to listen, to hear what people said, but know what they're saying. Because when I'm dealing with people that might be from anywhere from Spain to Greece, to the UK, they all have different perspectives and different ways of how they may think and see the world and operate in the world and act upon the world. And so it requires me to be really, really present, because everything is happening in the now. And there's no greater, in my perspective, in running business and what I've done, there's almost no greater way of measuring just how well, in fact, we're present and in the now than by running your own business, by serving and supporting people, by listening to what it is that they're going through and what it is that they want. So you have to pardon me, I got a phone call popping in there. So, but anyway, I'll just wrap this up as I've really spoken into a few things. There's a couple of things I'm going to be doing some more Facebook Lives. If you have a business and online especially, and you're using it to to attract more clients and work with more people and serve them with whatever your solution is. There's a couple of concepts I'm going to be speaking to here as I continue to move forward with Facebook Lives, like clarity over being clever. I see a lot of clever stuff online, but it's not very clear about what it is that it does to support people and invite them into a healthy conversation of helping them to alleviate their challenges. So there'll be a lot of really cool stuff that I'll be sharing with you here, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you. So with that, hope you've had a phenomenal day. Hope the rest of your day is great. I'm going to kind of share with you a little bit more here of downtown Laguna, my little paradise. We've got a little bit of an overcasty day today, but it's probably in the low 70s, high 60s at some point here. It's gorgeous. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.